Alright. Not the best setup, but I think it'll do. I do think it'll do. Let me see here. Kinda stuffy this afternoon for whatever reason. But we are, let's see here. We should be live on Twitch. Should be live on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. So we are going to attempt to get this thing rolling here. Let me see really quick if I can pull up chat for, because I have YouTube and Twitch, but I don't see my TikTok. My TikTok. My TikTok chat. My TikTok. My TikTok chat. My TikTok chat. Okay. What's that? Let's see. Real. Let's see here. I am not able. Neither in my Yes, well, I don't quite understand this, to be honest, but we will attempt to get this rolling. I can't seem to locate my TikTok chat for some reason, and that is moderately concerning. There we go. I found it. Fret not. I do need to lower the music slightly because I do enjoy music going hard, but it goes a bit too hard sometimes. Alright. Now we're ready. We've got the ball rolling. I got a couple chats opened up. Let's pop this bad boy open, huh? So first thing I want to point out is this was literally shipped this way, just in the box. Okay. I'm not going to show the bottom side because it's got my information on it, so we're just going to avoid all that altogether. Um, and we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully, there's at least a couple goodies in here. Overall condition of the box seems fine. It seems like they shipped it in pretty okay condition. Inside the box, we've got the I guess the supplier or what have you. And then complimentary with the purchase, we get a Final Fantasy Art Series card right off the get-go. I'm gonna see if I can turn down that brightness a little bit. That's a little better. So that's pretty dope. Pretty good condition. No issues there. Summon Bahamut. Pretty cool card. That one's going in the collection for sure. Straight off the rip. So that's cool. That's awesome. Just occurred to me that I don't have a surface to place things on once I open it. That, my friends, was a planning error. But that's okay. That's okay. So, art card. Pretty nice. I love the art on these. It's very good. Alright. So, I may have lied to you, Alan. There is a single layer of bubble wrap. So we'll take that. You know what I'm saying? That's not too bad. Not too bad. And then it looks like they stuffed one on this far end just to take up some space. So again, we'll definitely take that. That's better than nothing, I suppose. So here they are. Some definitely more worn than others. I'm actually gonna stick that back in there for right now. Some even you can see, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. Some have a little more yellowing on the side, whether from age or from use, we'll find out. And also, not sure if they're turned a particular direction. We're just gonna try to go through this thing best that I can. Let's see if I can get this thing to stay down. Okay. And then let me quickly run and click this button. I have this set up opposite of my desk, so it is not ideal, but for our purposes today it will work. I actually have a tripod on the way. Once I get the tripod, obviously I'll be able to just set it up and point it at what I want to point it at. So, but let's start from this end here, and we'll just work our way down. First pull, Thorn Elemental. Five mana, green. May have Thorn Elemental assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. Okay, well, that's an uncommon. An uncommon from the get-go. Card is from 2018. I don't know the sets well enough to know what set that's from. That's pretty cool. Decent condition on that one. Vicious Offering. 1 mana and a black. Kicker, sacrifice a creature. Target creature gets -2/-2 until the end of the turn. If the spell was kicked, that creature instead gets -5/-5 until the end of the turn. Another one from 2018. Not too bad. Not too bad. So what I'm going to try to do I'd like to go ahead and sort them if I can. Next up, we've got green mana, sorcery, adventurous impulse. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Yes, I'm going to try to put into at least color piles as I go. I'm working on... Hey, what's up, Hamby? I'm working on trying to re-sort everything. I have a system that I'm thinking I'm going to go with where basically I put everything in binders except for commons and uncommons, which will go in something like this, or I'm going to use one of my Pelican cases to create a version of this, basically. Next up, Arbor Armament. It's 1 green mana. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. That creature gains reach until the end of the turn. That'd be good for a green deck that needs reach. Probably good with like a Llanowar Elves thing as well. That's actually what the little flavor text mentions Llanowar, so that's cool. Another green one. Lots of green so far. Next one is the Gift of Growth. 1 mana plus a green. It's another instant kicker. You may kick this for 2 mana. It's a 2 mana kicker. Untap target creature gets +2/+2 to the end of the turn. If the spell was kicked, the creature gets 4/4 instead. It's got a little elk on it. Pretty neat. Let's see. Next up is 1 mana black. Cabal Evangel. It's just a human cleric. 2 mana. Alright, so we're only black and green so far. Okay. Artifact creature Juggernaut. Juggernaut attacks each combat if it's able. Juggernaut can't be blocked by walls. So, not too bad there. Not too bad. With the artifact pile. Resplendent Griffin. It's 1 mana, 1 white, 1 blue. Flying Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game. Whenever Resplendent Griffin attacks, if you have City's Blessing, put a 1/1 counter. Nothing too crazy there. Just a kind of basic Griffin card. Haven't yet decided how I'm going to deal with multicolor. They'll probably get their own kind of sleeve. Sea Red. 1 mana, 1 red. Enchantment Aura. Enchanted creature gets 2/1 and has first strike. At the beginning of your instep, if you didn't attack with a creature this turn, sacrifice the aura. So not the card the aura is attached to, but the aura itself. So you basically have to attack every turn once you put this on. So that's pretty cool. First red of the box. First red card of the box. That puts me maybe 10, 15 cards in. Ooh, this is a fun one. Twins of Maurer Estate. It has Madness, so if you discard a card, discard it into exile. When you do, you can cast it for its Madness cost, or put it in your graveyard. So that's pretty cool for like sacrifice decks and stuff like that. It's got a way to play it for cheaper than it would normally be, which is pretty neat. Jukai Preserver. It's 3 mana, 1 green. It's an enchantment creature, which is pretty cool. When Jukai Preserver enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. You can channel for 2 mana and a green to discard Jukai Preserver and put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures you control. And it's a 3/3 human druid. So another one for the green pile. The cards so far have been decent condition. No issues there. Artifact feat creature, Construct Iron Apprentice. Little red guy. Iron Apprentice enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. When Iron Apprentice dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target creature you control. So, that's pretty cool. It enters with 1/1, and if it dies, you can transfer the counters. There's some interesting interplay there with quite a few setups. Next up, Heir of the Ancient Fang. 2 mana, 1 green. It's a Snake Samurai. Heir of the Ancient Fang enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it if you control a modified creature. So if I control, any enchantments or auras or anything like that that modify creatures, he enters with a 1/1 counter, which takes him to a 3/4 instead of a 2/2, or instead of a 2/3. So that's potentially pretty decent value for 3 mana. That's not bad. Not bad at all. These are Magic cards, Jeremy. These are Magic cards. Dramatist's Puppet. Artifact creature construct. When Dramatist's Puppet enters the battlefield, for each kind of counter on the target permanent, put another counter of that kind on it or remove one from it. Interesting. So this would be cool for different kinds of artifact decks. Actually could be interesting with Iron Apprentice as well. 4 mana, 2/4. Interesting. It has a cool interplay though, so it might be better than expected. Alright. Enchantment creature Snake Ninja, Fang of Shigeki. It is 1 mana. It's a green mana, singular green mana, and it has Death Touch. 1/1 snake with Death Touch. Not too bad. Not too bad. That's pretty cool actually. That's a really, really low cost death card with Death Touch, which is always fun. Next up is the Coiling Stalker. 1 mana, 1 green. It's a Snake Ninja. It has Ninjutsu, which can return an unblock attacker you control to your hand. And then you can put this card from the battlefield from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, and attack. And whenever this card deals combat damage to a player, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control that doesn't have a 1/1 counter on it. So that's pretty neat. A lot of snake cards so far. A lot of snake cards. I'm feeling a possible theme so far. Next up is 3 mana, 1 green, Canopy Stalker. It's a cat, so not a snake. Changing the groove up a little bit. Canopy Stalker must be blocked if able. When Canopy Stalker dies, you gain 1 life for each creature that died this turn. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Another one for the green pile. Lots of greens so far. Excavation Mole. 2 mana, 1 green. Just a mole. It's got trample. It's a 3/3. When Excavation Mole enters the battlefield, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. So that could be interesting for a mill deck, or a mole deck, if you are somehow building a mole deck, which would be very funny. Right. Ambuscade. Ambuscade. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 to the end of the turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. So that's cool. Do a little bit of damage. Seems kind of expensive, maybe. Or, well, I mean, I guess it could potentially be removal and a buff. So, I mean, it's probably fine. Probably fine. On to the next. Elvish Rejuvenator. Creature Elf Druid. It is a 1/1. Excuse me. For 2 mana and 1 green. When Elvish Rejuvenator enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it'll help find some extra lands in there. Art on this one is pretty good. I like that. I like that. I like that. Next up, we've got a Tusk Guard Captain, which is a human warrior. It is 2 mana, 1 green, and it has Outlast, which you can do by using 1 green mana and tapping this card. It puts a 1/1 counter on this creature, and you can only cast Outlast as a sorcery. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it also has trample. So that's pretty useful actually. And I know that it's not a mole, but it kind of looks like a mole in the background, which I think is kind of funny because I just mentioned a mole deck, and so that might be something that we do at some point. All right. Next up, we've got Arachneus Web. It's an aura enchantment. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. At the beginning of the end step, the enchanted creature's power is 4 or greater. Destroy the enchantment. The enchantment is a 2 mana, 1 green. So a little bit of control or disruption, whatever you want to call it. Loathsome Chimera has escape. It costs 2 mana, 1 green, and when you escape, it escapes with a +1/+1 counter on it, making it from a 4/1 to a 5/2, which is quite good value. Oh, but so the escape cost is more than the regular cost by 2 mana. So. I could see the use. I'm not personally a fan of escaping from more expensive cards. Next up, we've got Crack Open. 2 mana, 1 green. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, and create a treasure token. So, just a little bit of token fun for the green decks. Not too bad. Rift Sower, 2 mana, 1 green. Creature of Druid. You can tap this card to add 1 mana of any color. It's also got Suspend. Rather than cast this card from your hand, you may pay 1 green and exile it with 2 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter. When the last is removed, cast without paying its mana cost, it has haste. Huh. Now see, Suspend is an interesting mechanic. That's pretty cool. So basically I can cast it for 1 mana and just wait and add it later. Would be 2 turns. That's pretty interesting. because it's not a particularly powerful card, but it does some pretty interesting. Being able to tap it for mana is pretty cool. Alright, let's see. Seton's Desire, Enchantment Aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. Threshold, as long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, all creatures able to block enchanted creature do so. So it forces the opponent to block when you attack, which is kind of interesting. Which potentially creates... That's an interesting card. Because that could potentially make an opening for like another, like if you have a creature that's way stronger, that could potentially create an opening for the stronger creature to get 3 hits. Or if the strong creature has trample, run over everything. 2 mana, 1 green, viral spawning. Create a 3/3 green Phyrexian beast creature token with toxic 1. As long as, and it's also corrupted. As long as the opponent has 3 or more poison counters, viral spawning is in your graveyard. It has flashback, so you can cast it from the graveyard too. So that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Ichorspit Basilisk, a Phyrexian Basilisk. Blah 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 blah. I'm just gonna restart for this card. Okay. Phyrexian Basilisk. 2 mana, 1 green. It has Death Touch and Toxic 1, and it's a 1/3. So, nothing too crazy going on with this one, but anything with Death Touch is pretty interesting, in my opinion. Death Touch is a really interesting ability to dismantling your opponent's cards, or creatures specifically. Next up, we got a 2 mana, 1 green Giant Ladybug. It is an insect with reach. And when the Giant Ladybug enters the battlefield, you can search for a basic land, reveal it, shuffle your deck, and put that card on top. So, just reach and some land finding. It is a 4/1, so susceptible to pinging, but pretty high damage, actually, for the cost. Next up, we've got Social Climber. It's a 2 mana, 1 green druid with Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. A little bit of sustain. Trying to stay alive. It's interesting. Alright. Warm Welcome. 2 mana, 1 green, instant cast. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. So you get for 3 mana, you get a scry. Well, it's sort of a scry. It's a modified scry. You scry and then you throw the remaining cards in your library and put 1 in your hand. And then you create a single green token. So you get a card, and that's okay. For 3 mana, you get a token and a card draw. Seems decent, relatively. Next up is Broken Wings. 2 mana, 1 green. Instant cast. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Okay. Straightforward. Most Wanted, 2 mana, 1 green with Flash. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1. When the enchanted creature dies, create 2 treasure tokens. Pretty good, pretty good. Tons of green so far. Tons of green. Not much of it, if anything else. High-Rise Sawjack. Elf Citizen with Reach, 2/3, 2 mana, 1 green. Whenever High-Rise Sawjack blocks a creature with flying, High-Rise Sawjack gets +2/+0 until the end of the turn. Charging Rhino. 3 mana, 2 green, 4/4. And Charging Rhino can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. So, would be an interesting one to kind of buff up a little bit. Next up, we've got Flycatcher Giraffid. It's an Antelope Lizard. 4 mana, 1 green. Flycatcher enters the battlefield with your choice of a Vigilance counter or a Reach counter on it. So it can have Vigilance or Reach for 5 mana, and it's a 3/5. Also, not too bad. Noxious Assault. Sorcery for 3 mana, 2 green. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller gets a poison counter. So that could potentially be like a win condition. It's a win condition or they take a bunch of damage, basically. So that's kind of neat. That's a pretty cool card. Pretty good opportunity for some poison deck builds. Tyrannax Atrocity has haste. It's 3 mana, 2 green. It has haste and toxic 3. And it's a 4/4. So, lots of poison. Lots of poison on that one. That's pretty wild, methinks. Next up we have Oil Gorger Troll. It's a 3 mana, 2 green. It's a Troll Warrior, and when he enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. And if you control a permanent with an oil counter on it, also draw a card. 3/4. Okay, come on. So that's pretty neat, I would say. Well, still sticking with the green meta, it seems. Battlefield Scrounger. 3 mana, 2 green. Centaur. With Threshold. Put 3 cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Battlefield Scrounger gets +3/+3 until the end of the turn. Activate only once each turn and only if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard. It's just a little Centaur. What if these are sorted by card color? Not really. If they are, it's pretty loosely sorted that way. Next up, we've got Dawnheart Rejuvenator. Human Warlock. 3 mana, 1 green. When the Rejuvenator enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. So, mana and life. Seems good. Also got kind of a cool little border around it. It's not your traditional border, which is kind of sick. Selesnya Cluestone. Add it's an artifact for 3 mana. It lets you add green or white to your mana pool. And if you pay green white, you can tap it. you can sacrifice this to draw a card. A blue. This is the first blue one that I've gotten other than the Griffin. So that's pretty cool. 3 mana, 1 blue, instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 6 mana. So it's a 4-cost counter spell. So that's pretty interesting. Next up is Maze Behemoth. Elemental creature with trample. It's a 5 mana, 1 green. And multicolored creatures you control also have trample. That card's from 2013. That's a 12-year-old card, which is kind of cool. The next red. Warmind Infantry. Elemental Soldier, 2 mana, 1 red. Battalion. Whenever Warmind Infantry and at least 2 other creatures attack, Warmind Infantry gets +2/+0 until the end of the turn. Not crazy, but if you've got kind of a crazy attack build, or attack deck, would be good. It just wants to attack. It just gets stronger. Gixian Skullflayer. It's an assassin. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard, put a 1/1 counter on Gixian Skullflayer. So basically, if you've got a bunch of creatures in the graveyard, it comes out stronger. That takes it to a 4/3, or a 3/4, sorry. Pretty cool. Cool. Next up, we've got Argothian Opportunist, a human scout. 2 mana, 1 green. When Argothian Opportunist enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token, which is an artifact with tap to add mana. But it can only be used to cast a artifact spell, which is interesting. So that's like an artifact deck. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Argothian Sprite, 1 mana, 1 green. Argothian Sprite can't be blocked by artifact creatures. And for 7 mana, you can put 2 1/1 counters on Argothian Sprite. That seems not very good, but maybe I don't understand how this works. I don't know, maybe it's very good. Maybe I'm just bad. I don't know. I don't know. Overwhelming Remorse. 4 mana, 1 black. Instant. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard. Okay, that's cool. And it's just an exile. Exile target creature is Planeswalker. Pretty interesting. Next up, Fog of War, 2 mana, 1 green, instant cast. You gain 1 life for each creature on the battlefield. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures with power of 3 or less. That seems like a pretty good little token counter. If somebody's running a deck with a bunch of weak tokens. Okay. Ironclaw Crusher, 7 mana, artifact creature worm. As prototype, so you can cast a spell with different mana, cost, color, and size, but it keeps its ability and types. So it's 7 mana, or you can cast it for 2 mana and 2 green to make it a 2/5 version instead. Whenever Ironclaw Crusher attacks, target cracking creature gets +X/+0 until the end of the turn, where X is Ironclaw Crusher's power. Oh. Now that's interesting. So then, can it target itself? So is it actually a 7 mana 8/6? When it attacks, I guess. Huh. That's an interesting card. I would have to do additional research on that one, methinks. Balaji Excavation. Sorcery, 3 mana, 2 green. Create 3 tapped Power Stone tokens, you gain 3 life. That's another artifact searching card with some artifacts, or with some life associated with it. Pretty neat. Oh yeah, it's a classic, folks. It's 2022 though, but it's a I guess a reprint or of the classic Millstone. Target player mills 2 cards, 2 mana and tap the artifact. Cool to have nonetheless. Next up, No One Left Behind. 4 mana, 1 black, sorcery. This spell costs 3 less to cast. If it targets a creature card with mana value of 3 or less, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's an escape, basically. And it's much cheaper if you target a weak target, which is pretty interesting. Careful Cultivation. 2 mana, 1 green, enchantment. Enchant artifact or creature. As long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets +1/+3 and has reach. And you can tap it to add 2 mana. This card also has Channel, which you can pay for 1 mana, 1 green. Discard Careful Cultivation and create a green human monk creature token with tap to add 1 green mana. So that's a pretty interesting little card there. 3 mana seems really cheap for what it is. I mean, potentially you effectively could cast that for 1 mana. If you attach it to something that is not tapped yet, you could attach it and then tap that card and get 2 mana back. Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, artifact creature defender. And it can be tapped to ping, which is neat. Desert of the True. Enters the battlefield tapped. So that's just what's it? Just white? Yeah. It's white with cycling, which is kind of cool. But nothing too crazy there. Put that over there. For land. I got another land, Desert of the Mindful. Just another land. Non-basic. Alright. Corpse Churn, instant. 1 mana, 1 black. Put the top 3 cards of your library into the graveyard, and you may return a creature from your graveyard to your hand. So, it's kind of another escape, but it goes to your hand. We take those. Malefic Scythe. Artifact equipment. Malefic Scythe enters the battlefield with a soul counter on it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each soul counter on Malefic Scythe. Whenever the equipped creature dies, put a soul counter on Malefic Scythe. Equip 1 mana. So it gets stronger the more creatures that it's been equipped to, which is pretty interesting. Eternal Taskmaster, 1 mana, 1 black. It's a zombie. It enters the battlefield tapped, and whenever the Taskmaster attacks, you may pay 2 mana, 1 black. If you do, return a target card from your graveyard to your hand. That's quite a lot of creature sustain. If you're milling a lot or whatever. My back is wearing on me. Tavern Swindler, 1 mana, 1 black, human rogue, pay 3 life, flip a coin. If you win the flip, you gain 6 life. So, a little bit of gambling. Void Beckoner, 6 mana, 2 black, 8/8 with Death Touch, with cycling. And when you cycle the Void Beckoner, you put a Death Touch counter on target creature you control. So you can cycle it and apply Death Touch. Bamboo Grove Archer, 1 mana, 1 green. Enchantment, another Snake Archer. Or another snake, I guess I should say. It's a defender and it has reach. It also has channel. It's only 2 mana. 2 mana is not bad for a defender with 3 attack. It seems pretty good. Pretty good at defending me. Next up is Bristling Boar. 3 mana, 1 green. Bristling Boar can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. So, just your classic anti-defender. Jadecraft Artisan, Merfolk Shaman. When Jadecraft Artisan enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. That seems like pretty good value for 4 mana. It's a 3/3 by itself, and it gives +2/+2. So that seems decent. Sabertooth Mauler. 3 mana, 1 green. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Sabertooth Mauler and untap it. That's pretty neat. Professor of Zoomancy. A bear druid. When Professor of Zoomancy enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token. When this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Okay. Not too shabby. Ooh. That's cool. Boziju Reaches Skyward. It's a saga. Search your library for 2 forest cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, and then shuffle. Put 1 land card from your graveyard on top of your library, and then exile the saga and return it to the battlefield transformed. It is 3 mana, 1 green, and when it's transformed, it's an enchantment creature plant with reach. Branch of Bosiju. It's 1/1 for each land you control. So it's for land decks. That's pretty cool. That's a cool card. I think that's a pretty cool card here. Done for the day. 2 mana, 1 green. Enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you control an employee, a performer, or a robot, you may get or create. I don't actually know what that symbol means. Looks like a ticket. You may get a ticket. I don't know. Or create a treasure token. If you control all 3, you may put a sticker on an online permanent you own. Well, now see, this is a card that I don't understand. I don't know what it does. So, that's one I'd have to look up. Because I don't understand it. Don't understand that one either. X-Bane Turtoise. It's a turtle. With ward, it's 2 mana, 1 green. It has ward for 2 mana. It also has enlist. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cheap. Within the list. Deathbloom Gardener. 1/1 Elf Druid for 3 mana. It has Death Touch, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Art's kind of cool. Hoarding Recluse. 3 mana, 1 green, spider with reach and death touch. It is a 2/3. When the recluse dies, put up to 1 other target card from a graveyard onto the bottom of its owner's library. So that's potentially interesting. We're going to stretch again really quick. Okay. Now that we're stretched. My back. My back. Okay. Chronos' Tinkering. 3 mana, 1 green. Instant cast. Put 2 1/1 counters on target artifact, creature, or land you control. Untap that permanent. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 creature in addition to its other types. So that's pretty cool. You basically get to make a creature a 2/2. Or you get to make anything a 2/2. And it could be a... whatever. That's pretty cool. Shoot Down. 3 mana, 1 green, sorcery, exile target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Pretty simple. Not too crazy. I wonder if I can get you a little closer. Really? It's kind of as far as you'll go. Yep. Get my tripod online. Natural Reclamation, 4 mana, 1 green, instant cast with Cascade. And it destroys target artifact or enchantment. Battlefield Promotion, 1 mana, 1 white, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. That creature gains first strike until the end of the turn, and you gain 2 life. That's pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap. Also, that's the first white card that I got. So that's cool. Perilous Mirror, artifact creature mirror. When Perilous Mirror dies, it deals 2 damage to any target. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, pretty effective. Captain's Call, 3 mana, 1 white, sorcery. Create 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. 3 tokens for 4 mana. And it's a sorcery. Seems a little bit expensive, a little bit on the expensive side, but that might be totally fine. On to the next. Wild Size. 2 mana, 1 green, instant cast. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample until the end of the turn. Additionally, you may draw a card. For 3 mana, that's pretty good. It's pretty good value, I think. Prying Eyes, 4 mana, 2 blue. Draw 4 cards, and then discard 2 cards. So you get 2 cards for 6 mana. Which, gonna be honest, doesn't seem great. It doesn't seem great to me. Alright. Gifts of Paradise, enchantment, aura. 2 mana, 1 green, enchant land. When Gift of Paradise enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Enchanted land has add 2 mana of any one color. So basically it buffs your land to give you 3 mana, which is pretty good, I feel. Pretty good, actually. Briarblade Adept. 4 mana, 1 black, 3/4. Whenever Briarblade Adept attacks, target creature opponent controls gets -1/-1 until the end of the turn. Also has Encore for 3 mana, 1 black. For each opponent, create a token copy that attacks that opponent this turn if able. They gain haste. Sacrifice them at the beginning of your next end step. Oh, so that's cool. That's interesting. I don't know that it's good, but it's interesting. Bane's Invoker, 1 mana, 1 white. Human Cleric with Windwalk for 8 mana. Up to 2 target creatures, these get +2/+2 and gain flying until the end of the turn. Seems pretty good. It's actually a really low cost card with a really high cost activation ability. But it does seem pretty decent for buffing. Chain Devil, 3 mana, 1 black. Animate chains. When Chain Devil enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a non-token creature. Pretty straightforward. Not too crazy to read there. Draconic Lore, 5 mana, 1 blue. This spell costs 2 less to cast if you control a dragon, which makes it 3 mana, 1 blue. And you get to draw 3 cards. It's like Pot of Greed on steroids. Carefree Swinemaster, 2 mana, 1 green. Whenever Carefree Swinemaster attacks, you may pay 1 mana, 1 green. If you do, create a 2/2 green board token that's tapped and also attacking. Little token synergy, 3 mana. Too shabby. Harmonious Emergence, 3 mana, 1 green. Enchant a land that you control. The enchanted land is a 4/5 green spirit creature with vigilance and haste. It is still a land. If the enchanted land would be destroyed, instead sacrifice Harmonious Emergence, and that land gains indestructible until the end of the turn. So basically, it just gives you a free creature with vigilance and haste, and then when that creature would be destroyed, you just sacrifice this card and it goes back to being a land. Best card so far. Hard to say exactly. I don't know why, but I really like Malefic Scythe so far. I couldn't tell you why. I just think that conceptually it's really cool, because basically its whole thing is you want to attach it to an existing creature and then sacrifice or somehow kill that creature, and it makes the scythe stronger, so then next time you attach it, it adds an extra counter, and you basically keep snowballing that until the scythe is destroyed. So that's pretty cool. That's probably my favorite that I've seen so far. But also haven't discovered any foils, or I don't think I've even seen any rares yet. So I'm wondering if they're kind of front loaded to the front here. I'm not sure how this box was kind of put together. But I haven't seen any rares yet. It's all been commons and uncommons, so we'll see. Legion's Judgment, 2 mana, 1 white, sorcery, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Simple. Simple yet effective. Nimble Mongoose. 1/1, 1 green with Shroud. Also has Threshold. Nimble Mongoose gets +2/+2 as long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard. So that could potentially be a 1 mana 3/3, which is decent. That seems actually pretty good value, but I'm no expert. Glaze Fiend, artifact creature illusion with flying, 1 mana, 1 black. Whenever another artifact comes into play under your control, Glaze Fiend gets +2/+2 till the end of the turn. It is regularly a 0/1, so that is interesting. Alright. I am not sure the age of this card. I have to figure out what set that is. But it may be from 2008, maybe? Excommunicate, sorcery, put target creature on top of its owner's library. 2 mana, 1 white. So that's cool. There's a card in there that's kind of beat up. Oh, this is an old one. I think this one's from the 90s. Grand War Machine, artifact creature with Echo. During your next upkeep, after this permanent comes under your control, pay its casting cost or sacrifice it. Thran War Machine attacks each turn if it's able. It's only 4 mana, but it is a 4/5. And I think this card is from like the 90s. A little bit of damage along the top there. But, I mean, it's a friggin' 20-year-old card. It's pretty good condition, I think. PSA might disagree with me, I don't know. Oh, another one. Another one from the 90s. 2 blue, Stern Protector. It's a wizard, 1/2 wizard. When Stern Protector comes into play, return target artifact or enchantment to owner's hand. That seems very good for 2 mana. Make them recast something. Potential to be quite good. Again, that's a real card from the 90s. It's good condition. 1 mana. Another card possibly from the 90s. Enchantment Alteration. Instant for 1 mana. Move target enchantment from one creature to another or from one land to another. This enchantment's new target must be legal, whatever that means. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool card. For 1 mana, that seems very good. Academy Researchers, 1 mana, 2 blue. It's a 2/2 wizard. When Academy Researchers comes into play, you may choose an enchant creature card in your hand and put that enchantment into play on Academy Researchers. Okay. That's interesting. Ixali's Diviner. 1 mana, 1 green. When Ixali's Diviner enters the battlefield, it explores. If it's a land, the divine's creature. I mean, it's 2 mana for a 1/3 or a 0/3, so that's fine. Nothing super crazy about that. Cascade Seer. 3 mana, 1 blue. Merfolk Wizard. When Cascade Seer enters the battlefield, scry X, where X is the number of creatures in your party. Your party consists of up to 1 each of Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, and Wizard. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. 4 mana with a scry of up to 4. could be potentially quite good. Merfolk Branchwalker. Merfolk Branchwalker enters the battlefield. It explores. 2 mana with an explore. That's okay. Waterknot. 1 mana, 2 blue. It's an enchantment aura. When Waterknot enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during controller's untap step. So it just taps creature. Uh, 1 mana for Opt. So scry 1, draw a card. 1 mana to scry and draw a card. That's classic. Classic. Merfolk. Excuse me. Merfolk Falconer. 3 mana, 2 blue. This card has flying. It's a 4/4. And whenever you cast a kicked spell, scry 2. It's acceptable. Sure-footed Infiltrator, Merfolk Rogue. Tap another untapped rogue you control. Sure-footed Infiltrator can't be blocked this turn. Whenever Sure-footed Infiltrator deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So that's pretty decent. Kind of a cool draw interplay with combat damage. Get a double strike, you draw 2 cards. Jade Guardian, 3 mana, 1 green, Merfolk Shaman with Hexproof. When Jade Guardian enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target Merfolk you control. So I think this is the 5th or 6th Merfolk related card. Which means Merfolk deck incoming. Tazim Royal Mage, another Merfolk with a kicker for 4. It's 1 mana, 1 blue. It's a 2/1. When Tazim Royal Mage enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Interesting. Merfolk Windrobber. When Merfolk Windrobber deals combat damage to a player, that player mills a card. Okay. Sacrifice to draw a card. Okay. 1 mana with some interesting effects. It's pretty cool. This next card is probably the card in the roughest shape out of all of these. And it's a Makindi Griffin. It looks like it was stuck together or had some water damage or something. So I mean, it's just a 2/4, 4 mana, or 3 mana, 1 white with flying. Doesn't do anything. I mean, this thing was probably just like in storage or something and just got water on it or something. Somebody spilled something. I mean, something was stuck to it there at one point. Left out in the heat, moisture. I don't know. The others, I don't see any others that look as terrible condition as this one. 1 out of 1,000. That's, I mean, that's not bad. We'll see how the rest of this goes. Not great condition on this one. So we're gonna set that one off to the side. All right, Swathcutter Giant, 4 mana, red white. With Vigilance, he's a 5/5. Whenever Swathcutter Giant attacks, it deals 1 damage to each creature the defending player controls. Which is interesting. It's another mixed card. Not there for now. Inescapable Blaze, 4 mana, 2/5, 2 red. This spell can't be countered, and an Inescapable Blaze deals 6 damage to any target. So, just straight up removal, basically. Arboretum Elemental. It's got Convoke and Hexproof. 7 mana, 2 green. Interesting. Ton of green cards so far, but clearly I vastly underestimated how quickly we would go through these. Swarm, Guild Mage, 1 black, 1 green. 4 mana plus a black, and tap this, and you get all your creatures get +1/+0 in menace until the end of the turn. You can also pay 1 mana, 1 green, and tap it for 2 life every turn. So that's a pretty interesting card if we're running a black-green deck. Uh, 1 mana, 1 white. Sunhome Stalwart. Is a human soldier with first strike and mentor. So that's cool. Gatekeeper Gargoyle, artifact creature. With flying, Gatekeeper Gargoyle enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each gate you control. More artifacts, brother. More artifacts. I freaking love artifacts. So, for the sake of time, I would like to go through the rest of these, but I think that, yeah, I think the rares and the foils might be up front. So we'll go through these first, and then we'll resume from the back end. I didn't know how long I was gonna take me to go through these. Ichor X Elixir, 4 mana. This is a rare. If you would roll 1 or more planar dice, instead you roll that many planar dice +1 and ignore 1. It also lets you tap to add 2 mana. So that's pretty good. Pretty good little card there. Alright. Idris, Soul of the TARDIS. 1 mana, 1 blue, 1 red. Legendary creature with Vanishing 3, Imprint. When Idris, Soul of the TARDIS enters the battlefield, exile another target artifact you control until Idris leaves the battlefield. Idris has all activated and triggered abilities of the exiled cards and gets +X/+X, where X is the exiled card's mana value. So that's interesting. That's really interesting. For 3 mana. That's pretty cool. That's pretty freaking cool, actually. Kate Stewart. Legendary creature, human scientist. 1 mana, 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 white. Whenever you put 1 or more time counters on a permanent you control, create a 1/1 white soldier token. Whenever Kate Stewart attacks, you may pay 8 mana. If you do, the attacking creatures get +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is the number of time counters among permanents you control. So that's pretty sweet. It's another multicolor there. Stensia Bloodhall, which is a land, but it is a rare. And I can pay 3 mana, 1 black, and 1 red, and tap the land to deal 2 damage to the target player or planeswalker. So it seems pretty bad, but it is a land. It is a land that can add colorless. So that's that's something. That's something. Let's see what's next here. Reign of the Pit, 4 mana, 2 black. It's a rare sorcery. Each player sacrifices a creature. Create an XX black demon creature token with flying, where X total power of the creatures sacrificed this way. So basically, it's a destroy their dude and make a token with the power of the dudes that were destroyed. So that's pretty good card. Master of Winds, 2 mana, 2 blue. It is another rare. It's a Sphinx Wizard with flying. When Master of Winds enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Whenever you cast an instant, sorcery, or wizard spell, you may have Master of Winds' base power and toughness become 4/1 or 1/4 until the end of the turn. So it's got a cool little kind of flip-flop whenever you cast a spell, which is interesting. Tegan Javanka, 2 mana, 1 white, legendary creature, human with Braveheart. This is like the 3rd or 4th Doctor Who card. Braveheart. Whenever you attack, target attacking historic creature gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible until the end of the turn. Artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic. Doctor's Companion, you can have 2 commanders if the other is the Doctor. So that's a companion commander, possibly, which is cool. That's pretty dope. I like that. That's a cool card. Run for Your Life. One blue, 1 red. It's an instant spell. 1 or 2 target creatures each gain haste until the end of the turn. They can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. And it has Escape for 2 mana, a blue and a red. Exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its escape cost. So that's a cool, another cool rare card there. Okay. Archpriest of Iona. Human Cleric. Archpriest of Iona's power is equal to the number of creatures in your party. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying until the end of the turn. So it can have, it's 1 mana, it can have up to 4/2. Which is pretty sweet. Darkwater Catacombs, which is a non-basic land. Shadowblood Ridge, another non-basic land. Skycloud Dragon Expanse, another non-basic land. Trial of a Time Lord. 1 mana, 2 white. Exile target non-token creature on turn 1. Exile target non-token creature an opponent controls until Trial of a Time Lord leaves the battlefield. That happens on 1, 2, and 3. And then on 4, starting with you, each player votes innocent or guilty. If guilty gets more votes, the owner of each card exiled with Trial of a Time Lord puts that card on the bottom of their library. Oh. So that's kind of cool. So if the table collectively agrees innocent, everybody gets their cards back. But if there are more guilty votes than innocent votes, then each card goes to the bottom of the deck. That's kind of fun. Alright. Rite of Belzenok. 2 mana, 2 black. On 1 and 2, create 2/0/1 black cleric creature tokens. And then on 3, create a 6/6 black demon creature token with flying, trample, and at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice another creature. If you can't, this creature deals 6 damage to you. Interesting. So then, I guess in theory, it's basically giving you 4 turns of the 6/6 demon for 4 mana. I mean, that seems pretty good. I don't know that I would use it unless I was playing like a sacrifice deck, but that seems good. Rix, Mighty Reveler. 1 mana, 1 red. Yeah, I remember this card. The Shaman with Spectacle. When Rix enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw a card. If Rix Mighty Spectacle's cost was paid, instead discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. It's an interesting card. The first eruption, 2 mana, 1 red. 1, the first eruption deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. 2, you can add 2 red mana that turn. 3, sacrifice a mountain. If you do, the first eruption deals 3 damage to each creature. So it's a little damage boost and land boost. Shadowed Caravel. 2 mana. Are these all sagas? No, I just happened to get like a chain of sagas in a row. This is an artifact, a vehicle. Whenever a creature you control explores, put a +1/+1 counter on Shadowed Caravel. It also has crew 2, and it itself is a 2/2 vehicle. Interesting. Vivid Revival, 4 mana, 1 green sorcery. It is rare. Return up to 3 target multicolored cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then exile Vivid Revival. So it could potentially get you back some really good cards into your hand. That's pretty dope. Welcome to the Fold. 2 mana, 2 blue. Sorcery, rare with Madness. Gain control of target creature if its toughness is 2 or less. If Welcome to the Fold's Madness cost was paid, instead gain control of that creature if its toughness is X or less. Because the Madness cost is X with 2 blue. So basically I could pay... I mean, that seems like a pretty good card. I gotta be honest, that seems like a good card. Alright. Ooh. This card is cool. So this is Endling, a 2 mana, 2 black zombie shapeshifter. Endling gains, and for 1 mana each, I can gain Menace, Death Touch, or Undying until the end of the turn. And then for an additional mana, I can get +1, -1, or -1/+1 till the end of the turn. So I can make it slightly tougher or slightly weaker for 1 mana as well. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool little card there. Alright. 1 mana, 2 black, Nether Spirit. Beginning of your upkeep, if Nether Spirit is the only creature card in your graveyard, you may return Nether Spirit to the battlefield. So it can just come back. It's the only creature in the graveyard. It can just come back. That's pretty cool. Planebound Accomplice. Human Wizard, 2 mana, 1 red. For 1, it's a 1/3, and for 1 mana, 1 red mana, you may put a Planeswalker card from your hand onto the battlefield. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Interesting. Wayfaring Temple. 1 mana, 1 green, 1 white. Wayfaring Temple's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. When Wayfaring Temple deals combat damage to a player, populate, aka put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of a creature token you control. So it grows itself, which is kind of cool. It's white green. I think that's the first white green card that I've seen. I don't think I've seen a white green yet. So that's pretty interesting. Wild Beastmaster. 2 mana, 1 green. Whenever Wild Beastmaster attacks, each other creature you control gets +X/+X until the end of the turn, where X is Wild Beastmaster's power. Yes, I think that Wayfaring could be very good for token creature decks. Alright, next up we have Eliminate the Competition. 4 mana, 1 black. It's a sorcery card. It is rare. As an additional cost to cast Eliminate the Competition, sacrifice X creatures. And then you get to destroy X target creatures. So for every creature you sacrifice, you get to destroy that many. Which is pretty interesting. Another one that would be good for like token decks where you're okay with sacrificing, because you could potentially just board wipe for 5 mana, which seems very good, to be honest. Ooh, okay, now we're talking. So we got our first foil. Gift of the Fangs. 1 black. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 as long as it's a vampire. Otherwise, it gets -2/-2. Sparkle, sparkle. Sparkle, sparkle. The art on this card is really cool. It is from 2021. Nice. That's a cool card. That is a cool card. Next up, another foil. It is common. 1 mana, 1 black. Doom Dissenter. When Doom Dissenter dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Nothing crazy there, but it does have a little bit of sparkly to it. So we'll take that. Tormod's Crypt Keeper. 3 mana, artifact creature golem. 3/2 with vigilance. I can sacrifice the Crypt Keeper and exile all cards from the target player's graveyard. So if somebody's trying to play a graveyard deck, I can exile everything, which is kind of cool. It's also foiled. It's foiled out of its mind. This card is really pretty. Guardians of Oboro, another foil. 2 mana, 1 blue. It's a Merfolk Samurai. It is a defender, and modified creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have defender. So, basically, you can't really see the art, but it's really pretty. It's like a really pretty card. But basically, if I enchant this with some modifier, or apply a counter to it or something, it can just attack as though it didn't have defender. So that's cool. That's a cool card. like the art on that a lot. Whoa. This is a cool card too. Sivirus Nightmare Speaker, legendary creature, Snake Cleric Warlock. Sacrifice another creature or an artifact. For each opponent, you mill a card, then return that card from your graveyard to your hand unless that player pays 3 life. And then choose a background. It's a 3/3 snake, but look at that card. It's foiled, but it looks cool. I don't know if that's like an alt art or what. I don't even know what set that's from, so I'll have to look that up, but that's cool. That's a cool card. And it's 3 mana, 1 black. This looks like another one from the same set. It's an artifact. 4 mana. I can tap this artifact. It's a Stone Speaker Crystal. I can tap the artifact to add 2 mana. Or I can sacrifice it to exile any number of players' graveyards. And then I can draw a card. So, show the snake a little closer. Assuming you mean the last one that I did. I can try turning my light off. You probably can't read it. I probably can't get it close enough. Oh, that's okay. If my handle stops shaking. So that's the alt art, solid 50-cent pull. I'll take it. And then I just went over the Stone Speaker Crystal as well, which it looks like another alt art, which is cool. Vol, Candlekeep Researcher, 3 mana, 1 blue. Human Wizard with Vigilance. Tap this card to add amount of mana equal to Toughness. This mana can't be spent to cast spells from your hand. I think it's kind of weird. I've gotten three alt arts from the same set. That's the Baldur's Gate set. Interesting. Okay. Oh, dude, that's cool. Chatterstorm, 1 mana, 1 green. Create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token, and then Storm. And that's also a foil too. I don't know how well you can see it. That's cool. Yeah, Storm can get stupid. Alright, let's see here. Dreadlight Monstrosity. 4 mana, 2 blue, crab, horror with ward. This is also a foil, and it has a bonus effect that can let it not be blocked, which is pretty cool. So Griffwing Cavalry, 3 mana, 1 white, flying human knight with training. And whenever it attacks, you can pay one mana, 1 white. If you do, target attacking creature without flying gains flying until the end of the turn. So that's another foil as well. I almost feel like you can see better with my little light off, but it's weird because for me it looks darker. So, ooh, that's fun. Honored Heirloom, 3 mana, artifact. Add 1 mana of any color. Exile target card from a graveyard. Yeah, with it off, you can actually, like, I can actually put it close to the camera and you can actually see it, which is pretty sweet. Sheltering Boughs, 2 mana, 1 green, enchantment, enchant creature. When Sheltering Boughs enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature gets +1/+3. So that's fine. Nothing crazy about that. Moon Circuit Hacker, 1 mana, 1 blue. Enchantment creature human ninja with ninjutsu. Whenever Moon Circuit Hacker deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card unless Moon Hacker entered the battlefield this turn. So you get 1 card for free when he enters. And then otherwise, you discard the one you after you draw. You discard after you draw. Ooh. Tamiyo's Completion. Enchantment Aura, 3 mana, 1 blue. An enchantment aura with flash. Enchant artifact, creature, or planeswalker. When Tamiyo's Completion enters the battlefield, tap enchanted permanent. If it's an equipment, unattach it. Enchanted permanent loses all abilities and doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And that's another foil, which is pretty cool. That was my blue cards. Alright, what do we got here? Scavenged Blade, 1 mana, 1 red, artifact equipment. Another foil. When Scavenged Blade enters the battlefield, attach it to a target creature you control. The equipped creature gets +2/+0. So it just boosts some damage. But it's got a little sparkle to it. It's got a little sparkle to it. Put that over there. Alright. Festive Funeral. Instant. Target creature gets -X/-X until the end of your turn, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. So that could potentially just eliminate something. And again, that's another foil. So, I feel like we're getting... I feel like there's actually been a pretty good number of foils and stuff. Pretty neat. 1 green mana. Strength of Solidarity. Choose target creature you control. Put a 1/1 counter on it for each creature in your party. And you can have up to 4 in your party. Another foil. But little simple little card. Boost up your boys, you know. Alright. Pass Wall Adept. 1 mana, 1 blue. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Yet another hollow, foil, whatever. Pretty simple on that one. Embereth Sunbreaker. 1 mana, 1 red. And it can do Battle Display for 1 mana as a sorcery adventure. Destroy target artifact, then exile this card. You may cast the creature later from exile. So that's an interesting little interplay there with the adventure. So you can cast it as a sorcery exile the card, and then the next turn play the Shield Breaker for the 2 mana cost from exile. So that's pretty cool. Explosive Entry, 1 mana, 1 red. Sorcery, destroy up to 1 target artifact. Put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature. 2 mana. 2 mana, destroys an artifact and gives a counter to a creature. So, that's not bad either. Not bad at all. Alright. Ambitious Assault. 2 mana, 1 red. Instant cast. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until the end of the turn. If you control a modified creature, draw a card. Pretty sweet. Witness the Future. 2 mana, 1 blue. It is a sorcery, it is uncommon, and it is a foil. Target player shuffles up to 4 target cards from their graveyard into their library. You look at the top 4 cards of their library, then put one of those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. That's cool. Kind of complex, but it's kind of cool. You can add cards from any player from their graveyard to the library, and then you can take your deck, look at your top 4 cards, and put 1 into your hand and the rest on the bottom in a random order. It's pretty cool. Oh, that's cool. It's an artifact land, which I think is the first of these that I've seen, but it's also indestructible. So it is hollow as well. And that actually goes with your deck pretty good as well. So that's pretty dope. That's a cool card. I like that. But you know, the thing I hate about combo cards like this is, do I put it in my artifact pile or do I put it in my land pile? Because it's an artifact land, and so I don't know where to put it. So it seems that functionally it's a land, so I'm going to put it in my land pile. But it must be said that this is not good for future cards that I run into this with. It went to the lands pile, though. It went to the lands pile. Alright. Sigarda's Imprisonment, 2 mana, 1 white. Enchantment. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. Enchanted creature can be exiled, and then you can create a blood token, which will let you draw a card. That's another hollow as well. So nothing crazy there, but pretty cool little card. Oh, this is a 2-sided card. This is the original side. Binding Geist, 2 mana, 1 blue, creature spirit. Whenever Binding Geist attacks, target creature an opponent controls gets -2, -0 until the end of the turn. For 1 mana and 1 blue, you can disturb and cast this card from your graveyard transformed into Spectral Binding, which lets you enchant a creature, and the enchanted creature gets -2, -0. And if Spectral Binding would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So that's kind of cool. If you've got like an exile deck, you can basically like use this card like infinitely. Most of these hollows are 50 cent, by the way. Well, now see, that's good to know. Because if theoretically that's true, then I'm betting that I'm on track to actually profit from this purchase, just off of the rares and hollows. I'm planning on scanning all of these in at some point. I don't know when. I'm hoping to at least get through the hollows tonight. And then I may not stream going through the rest of them. But then I'm planning on trying to scan them maybe tomorrow. Or not tomorrow. Maybe Wednesday night or Thursday night. Karfell Kennelmester. 4 mana, 1 black. Another hollow. Creature, zombie, berserker. When Karfell Kennelmaster enters the battlefield, up to 2 target creatures each get +1/+0 and gain indestructible until the end of the turn. That seems like a pretty good card. A little on the expensive side, but overall a pretty good card. Bootnipper, 1 mana, 1 black. It's a beast, 2/1. Bootnipper enters the battlefield with your choice of Death Touch or Lifelink. Pretty cool little hollow. Ooh. Lost in a Labyrinth. 1 blue. Target creature gets -3/-0 until the end of the turn, and then scry 1. So that's very good value for that card in terms of what you're getting. So, pretty dope. Bootnipper. Kind of sounds like an insult in a way. Hang on 1 second. I think somebody's outside throwing firecrackers or something, man. I'm out here trying to look at my cards. Alright. Balduvan Horde. It's a 2 mana, 2 red. It is hollow as well, or foil as well. When he enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you discard a card. But it is a 5/5. A 5/5 for 4 mana. So, seems relatively fine. Ooh. 1 black, Festering Newt. It is a salamander. I know someone that is a fan of salamanders. When Festering Newt dies, target creature an opponent control gets -1/-1 until the end of the turn. That creature gets -4/-4 instead if you control a creature named Bogbrew Witch. Which, that's pretty interesting. Very specific interplay with the Bogbrew Witch. But, I mean, if you could get it to the -4/-4, that's pretty good. But yeah, it's also a foil. It's got the sparkle, rainbow sparkles. Dude, this is a lot of cards. Alright. Ooh, okay. Insatiable Harpy. 2 mana, 2 black. Flying and lifelink. It is a 2/2. So, Seems kind of expensive, but it has flying and lifelink, so could be a nuisance and could just heal you for 2 every turn. Brogbu Witch lets you search your deck for the newt. Oh, that's cool. So they literally just play with each other. That's awesome. That's cool. I like that. That's cool. This is the main side. Lambbolt Raconteur, 3 mana, 1 red, human werewolf, 2/4. When you cast a non-creature spell, Lambbolt Raconteur deals 1 damage to each opponent. And then it's also daybound, which means if you cast no spells during your own turn, it becomes night, which is where it would convert and turn into a Lambholt Ravager. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Lambholt Ravager deals 2 damage to each opponent. And then it's nightbound, so if you cast at least 2 spells if a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day next turn. That's a cool card, actually. It flops back and forth depending on the number of spells each player casts. So basically it flops back and forth between night and day every turn. During the day it's a 2/4, but at night it turns into a 4/4. And if you cast non-creature spells, you deal 2 damage to each opponent. And then during the day you deal 1 damage. So either way, you're basically getting some free damage out every turn, which is really cool. And it's only 4 mana. I don't know, I feel like that card has pretty good value in terms of mana and damage efficiency. Celestial Unicorn, 2 mana, 1 white. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Celestial Unicorn. That's another holo, and it's a very, very white card. Galvanic Relay, 2 mana, 1 red. Exile the top card of your library. During your next turn, you may play that card with Storm. This is also foiled. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool card. We love Storm cards. Era of Enlightenment. This is a saga. It transforms into a creature. It is 1 mana, 1 white, 1 scry 2. So Bogbrew also lets you search for the Bubbling Cauldron, and if you sacrifice the newt in the cauldron, each opponent loses 4 life, and you gain life equal to the amount of life. What's this? Wow, that's cool. So those 3 cards just literally play off of each other, which is kind of neat. So for this saga, the Era of Enlightenment, 1, you scry 2, 2, you gain 2 life, and then 3, you exile this saga, return it to the battlefield transformed, in which it becomes the Hand of Enlightenment, which is a human monk with first strike, and it's 2/2. So there's the saga side. 3-card interaction thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool interaction though. I actually really like the art on this card. The little monk dude is cool, and like the way the holo, like, or the foil, like, bounces or whatever. It's just cool art on this one. Oh, another saga. Tales of Master Seshiro. It's a 4 mana, 1 green. For 1 and 2, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature or vehicle you control, and it gains vigilance until the end of the turn. And then at 3, you exile it and transform it into Seshiro Living Legacy, which is a snake warrior. And it has vigilance and haste, and is a 5/5. There is a little bit of damage on the corners of this card. They're just slightly bent. But it's not like significant. It doesn't impede anything. I just noticed it when I was looking at it. But there's the Saga side. So, you know, it is a hollow. And then this is Sashiro's side. Little snake warrior dude. 5/5. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Another saga! Whoa! Lots of sagas. Alright, Azusa's Mini's Journeys. 1 mana, 1 green. You may play an additional land this turn. That's number 1. That's pretty cool. Turn 2, you gain 3 life. Turn 3, you exile the saga and transform it. It transforms into Likeness of the Seeker, another human monk. And whenever Likeness of the Seeker becomes blocked, untap up to 3 lands you control. So if you block it, you get some mana return, which is pretty cool. That is also another hollow, or a foil, or whatever. And then wouldn't you know, we've got another saga. The Modern Age, 1 mana, 1 blue. 1 and 2, you draw a card, discard a card. 3, you exile and transform. It transforms into Vector Glider, which is a 2/3 spirit with flying. Azusa Lost but Seeking. I don't know what Lost but Seeking does, but I bet it has interplay with the mini journeys. Lots of sagas. Lots of sagas. This one is The Long Reach of Night. 3 mana, 1 black. 1 and 2, each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard a card. Then it transforms into Animus of Night's Reach, which is an enchantment creature spirit. 0/4 with menace. Whenever Animus of Night's Reach attacks, it gets +X/+0. Where X is the number of creature cards in the defending player's graveyard. So that's pretty interesting. It kind of builds into itself with the forcing the opponent to sacrifice a creature. Alright, I like the art on this card for some reason. It's 1 black, but each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life for both 1 and 2. And then for 3 it exiles and summons the Saga, which is a rat rogue with menace, and then it also applies menace to vehicles that you control. I don't like the art as much on this side, but this side I think the art is cool. It's like a dude in a jacket facing the other way. That's also a foil as well. Oh, my back! My back! Alright, captured by Legox. 1 mana, 1 green, 1 white. It's an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature can attack or block. When captured by Legox, enters the battlefield, support 2. So it just puts counters on folks. And also, it kind of looks like a frog. Just throwing that out there. It does kind of look like a frog. I don't know if it is. Might be a lizard. But it kind of looks like a frog. It must be said. It does look amphibious, undoubtedly. Vehicles are probably going to be back in Edge of Eternity. Terminal Agony, 2 mana, 1 black, 1 red, sorcery, destroy target creature. You can also cast this with Madness for 1 black, 1 red. So it's just straight up removal for 2 mana if you cast it from the graveyard, which is kind of crazy. Do I have one with that color scheme? I do not. One's gonna go there. Alright. Arcbound Shikari, 1 mana, 1 red, 1 white. It's an artifact creature cat soldier with first strike. When Arcbound Shikari enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each other artifact creature you control. It's also modular 2. This creature enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. When it dies, you may put its 1/1 counters on an artifact creature. So that's pretty sweet, actually. That's crazy for an artifact creature deck. Like that's a must play. If you're running red white in an artifact creature deck, you gotta have this. That seems very good, and it's relatively cheap. Do I have that? Yes. Bone Shredder. Or Phyrexian Minion. It's 2 mana, 1 black. Does have flying. Echo 2 with 1 black. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this came under your control, since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay its echo cost. When Bone Shredder enters the battlefield, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature. So it destroys a creature that is not an artifact and not of the black color scheme. That's pretty cool. It's just a 1/1, so nothing crazy, but interesting effects. It just lets you get removal, which is good. Alright. Monoskelion. 2 mana, artifact creature construct. Monoskelion enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. Remove 1/1 counter from Monoskelion and deals 1 damage to any target. I mean, it's 2 mana with a 2/2. It's 2 mana and effectively a 2/2 with the ability to throw a ping for 1 damage, basically. And it's, I mean, all of these so far have been hollow from the front. So that's pretty cool because we love foils. Angelic Curator, 1 mana, 1 white, creature angel spirit, flying protection from artifacts. Simple. Ineffective. Sanctuary Raptor, 3 mana, artifact creature. It's a bird with flying. Whenever Sanctuary Raptor attacks, if you control 3 more tokens, Sanctuary Raptor gets +2/+0 and gains first strike. So it 3 mana could potentially be a 4/1 if you have 3 or more tokens. So that's an artifact creature theme. Battle Plan, 3 mana, 1 red. Enchantment. At the beginning of the combat phase on your turn, target creature you control gets +2/+0 to the end of your turn. It also has basic land cycling as an additional cost. So, how much did you pay for the box? This box was $34.95. And I got 1,000 cards. Vermin Gorger, 1 mana, 1 black, creature vampire. Sacrifice another creature, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So that's got good interplay with some of the sacrifice stuff that we've gotten. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I feel like overall so far. I mean, I've literally not even gone through half the box, and I feel like just with the hollows and the rares, there's a decent chance that I've made my money back already. If not, I've made at least my 50% mark back, um, which is kind of what I was hoping for anyway. So, I mean, I'll take that, you know. Floodhound, 1 mana, elemental dog, 1/2. You can pay 3 mana and tap it and investigate, which lets you create a clue artifact to draw a card. So that's pretty sweet. Arcbound Whelp, 3 mana, 1 fire, artifact creature dragon, flying. You can pay 1 mana and get +1/+0 to the end of the turn. This one is also modular. So another one for kind of an artifact creature deck. Modular is really interesting because theoretically the only way to remove those counters would be to exile the creature, because otherwise the counters would just be modular and then just be keep transferring over, right? Or I guess if it's modular, just two of the counters would be transferring over. Arcus Acolyte, 1 green, 1 white, human cleric archer with reach and lifelink. It also has Outlast to turn it into a 3/3. Additionally, each other creature you control without a 1/1 counter on it has the same Outlast that this card has. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool card. I think I like that a lot. And it's only 2 mana. A green and a white. Batterbone, 2 mana, artifact equipment, living weapon. So when this equipment enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 black Phyrexian germ creature token and attach this to it. The equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has vigilance and lifelink. So just a artifact weapon that spawns a token. So that's decent. Seems kind of... Oh no, for 2 mana, that's fine. Yeah, 2 mana, that's good. Another artifact creature, 3 mana, 1 white. It's a goat, Caprichrome. It has flash and vigilant. Also, devour artifact 1. As this enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice any number of artifacts. This creature enters the battlefield with that many 1/1 counters on. That's another one for the artifact creature deck, which is pretty cool. Right, this here we've got Revolutionist. It's a 3/3 human wizard. Cost is 5 mana, 1 red. When Revolutionist enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from the graveyard to your hand. And Revolutionist also has Madness, so I can cast it for cheaper with the Madness cost from the graveyard. It's another hollow as well. I feel like there's a lot of like really solid cards in here actually, even though they're just commons and uncommons. Soul of Migration, 5 mana, 2 white. Creature elemental flying. When Soul Migration enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white bird creature tokens with flying. You can also evoke for 3 mana, 1 white. So you can cast it at a discount just to get the bird tokens, which would be very cool in a sacrifice token deck, because you would get the 2 tokens for, well, it's still kind of expensive to just get 2 tokens, but they do have flying, but you would also get the bonus from sacrificing it, which potentially could give you some value. So that's pretty cool. Foul Watcher, 1 mana, 1 blue. Nightmare Bird. Fly. It has flying. When Foul Watchers enters the battlefield, surveil 1. It also has Delirium, so it gets +1/+0 as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool for... It seems weird that it's a blue card. I feel like that would be a black card. Alright. Young Necromancer, 4 mana, 1 black, human warlock. When Young Necromancer enters the battlefield, you may exile 2 cards from your graveyard. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, so it pulls it straight out. No cost, just pull it straight out the graveyard to the battlefield. It's kind of a good backup plan when it tries to hit you with some removal. Feast of Sanity, 3 mana, 1 black. It's an enchantment. Whenever you discard a card, Feast of Sanity deals 1 damage to any target and you gain 1 life. Anybody want a mill deck? Anybody? Any millers out there? Does that count as discarding though? Or does it discard only happen from the hand? I don't know what the verbiage is on that. Underworld Hermit, 4 mana, 2 black, human peasant. When Underworld Hermit enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens equal to your devotion to black. AKA each black in the mana pool costs of permanents you control count towards your devotion to black. Oh. So it's every black mana of all the cards in your control. So that's potentially quite good. Like as a late game thing, that could potentially be pretty crazy, actually. That's 6 mana, so it would be pretty late. But you could potentially get... I mean, it depends on your board, but you could potentially get quite a lot of... quite a lot of tokens from that. Oh, cool. Fast and Furious. Fast is an instant, 2 mana, 1 red. Discard a card, then draw 2 cards. Furious is 3 mana, 2 red. And Furious deals 3 damage to each creature without flying. Goblin Trap Runner, 3 mana, 1 red. It's a goblin creature. 4/2. Whenever Goblin Trap Runner attacks, flip 3 coins. Each flip you win, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. So that'd be pretty fun in a goblin deck. I feel like that's pretty good value for 4 mana. Next up we've got another foil, Kaleidoscorch. 1 mana, 1 red. It's a sorcery with Converge. Kaleidoscorch deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast this spell. And it also has Flashback, which lets me cast it from the graveyard for an increased cost. So I can do 2 damage, or I can do 5 damage with Kaleidoscorch, which is pretty sweet. Arcbound Prototype. It's just a simple artifact creature with modular too, just like the other artifact creatures I've had. Let's see. Is that it? Nope. Pulled that one from somewhere else. Where I pulled up. It's gonna go back in the middle. Impede momentum. 1 mana, 1 blue. Tap target creature and put 3 stun counters on it. And then scry 1 as a sorcery. Captain's Call. 3 mana, 1 white as a sorcery. Create 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. So that's actually a different. I actually got that card earlier, non-foil, and then this is, I guess, the foil version of it. So that's cool. It's a duplicate, but not really. The card itself is different, I suppose. Sheoldred's Restoration. 3 mana, 1 black. Kicker for 2 mana, 1 white. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If this spell was kicked, you gain life equal to that card's mana value. Otherwise, you lose that much life. So that's a pretty cheap way to get something out of the graveyard. And even if you pay the kicker cost, I mean, you're paying the kicker cost basically just to heal instead of lose life. And the card is exiled. Landscaper Kolos. It is a goat beast. 5 mana, 1 white. It is 4/6. When Landscaper Kolos enters the battlefield, put target card from opponent's graveyard on the bottom of their library. It also has basic land cycling for 2 mana. Simple, but effective, perhaps. Harvesttide Sentry. 1 mana, 1 green. Human creature warrior. It is a 3/1 with Coven. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, Harvesttide Sentry can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less this turn. I mean, for 2 mana, that's pretty good value, I feel. You meet in a tavern. 2 mana, 2 green, choose 1. Form a party. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Or otherwise, you can start a brawl, which gives creatures you control +2/+2 until end of turn. So that's quite good. Quite good, I would say. Sarah, thanks for liking live. Sylvan Shepherd, 2 mana, 1 green, human druid with vigilance. Whenever Sylvan Shepherd attacks, roll a d20. If you roll 1 through 9, you gain 1 life. 10 to 19, you gain 2 life. And then if you roll an at 20, you gain 5 life. So he's just straight up healing you when he attacks. That's a cool card. Natch. Now for Wrath, now for Ruin. 3 mana, 1 white. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. They gain vigilance until the end of the turn. And the ring tempts you. That's a Lord of the Rings card, I believe. So, that's a pretty cool foil to get, actually. I'm very curious to see what the total value is of this once I finish with it. Defiant Salvager. 2 mana, 1 black. Creature, Aetherborn Artificer. Sacrifice an artifact or creature. Put a 1/1 counter on Defiant Salvager. Activate its ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Sweet. Lockthwain Gargoyle. Artifact 1 mana. 0/3. Fang Gargoyle gets +2/+0 and gains flying until the end of their turn. That's pretty good. Good little defender for those rush decks we all know and love. Not actually a defender, but sir, I appreciate that you're enjoying my cards. Memory Theft, 2 mana, 1 black, sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You may put a card that has an adventure that a player owns from the exile into that player's graveyard. It's a very specific sorcery. You gotta know. You gotta kind of have an idea of what deck you're playing. Just that I feel. You need a more ergonomically appropriate setup. I do need a more ergonomically appropriate setup. You're right. This is not ergonomically efficient in the slightest. I can feel it in my back. But I am probably going to I'm probably going to stop there for tonight because it looks like that is the end of the rares and foils section. So not the end. You want me to keep going? You want me to keep going? That's crazy though, because I really only made it like, I mean, what is that? What is, like, just maybe a quarter of the way through this box? There's so many cards in here. So many cards. 1/16th? No, I'm further than 1/16th. Come on. But yeah, I will perhaps resume going through these on, maybe Wednesday night or Thursday night. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scan and catalog cards that I've got out already, and then I'm going to basically just try to add up that value. I'm going to kind of keep it separate in my app, or I may use different app to just kind of count them up, so to speak. To try to assess rough valuation on what I've got so far. But so far it feels like I'm pretty good value so far. I mean, most of these cards are common and uncommon, but you know, I would expect that, and a lot of them have really cool usage. So we're just gonna find out what else is in here. We will resume probably on Wednesday is what I'm thinking. We'll just bust the box back open and keep on trucking. I think we've got around 200. Why not tomorrow? Well, I have a previous, I got a hot date. I got a hot date tomorrow. So, you think I'll easily make the value back? Yeah, I mean, I hope so. That's what I'd like to see. But we're curious. I'm just curious, like, since I've gone through the foils and the rares, these are the cards that I would expect to have the highest value. For the most part. I mean, most commons and uncommons don't carry crazy value. I mean, some do, but I'm just curious, like if I see what I've got here, and I'm, you know, we'll be generous and say I'm a quarter of the way through the box, and I've got, you know, $15-20 worth of cards already. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna at least break even with the remainder of what's here. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, and we will pick back up on Wednesday, probably around 7. So I will let you guys know. But I appreciate you coming and browsing with me. It was a fun time. But until next time, friends.